Hey there. Welcome to the Spring Bar. Right this way. I've got the best seat in the house.
Hey everybody, welcome to Spring Bar. Glad to have you here. I am Mike. That is Joe. Today is a discussion inspired by an Instagram video, History and Heritage. I'm not calling anybody out. I'm just saying without saying. It's going to be one of those kind of things. So
Mike's got opinions.
I just don't I always. But
Mm.
before we get started, Joe, how you doing today?
I'm present. I have on my Negroni shirt. I'm feeling very comfortable with my life choices. I
Mine
don't know what
says
that says.
teenage. I'm just a teenage dirtbag.
Well, that's true. There's no
It's
there's no doubting
let
that.
me let me so I can see my
Teenage daughter survivor. That's better.
yeah.
That's better.
And boy am I just surviving.
It's a
So
thing.
you're back to school?
Yeah, as a Monday, I'm back in, back to life, back to reality. I'm very
Yeah.
displeased. I was just gotten to the point where I could sleep in, and now I have to
You're
wake up early.
just starting to get into the groove.
Yeah, literally like 8 weeks. It takes me long to get into the swing of things.
That's all it
But
is, 8 weeks.
yeah,
Oh.
8 weeks.
Whatever happened to the 3 month summer vacations?
I don't know.
State testing,
I, I don't know.
I guess. I don't know.
I,
Well,
don't,
let's wake you up a little bit. Tell me what you're drinking, tell me what you're wearing.
I have the Accutron depth gauge on
Oh
today.
yeah.
All
That
right,
thing is
that,
so cool.
that Monin case. I actually saw another one that was up on eBay for
Did you?
nothing. Maybe $100. Um, Needs work though. But I got that,
You
and I got me
don't
a
say.
spicy Bloody Mary, and
Ooh,
all as well.
it's been a while since I've had a Bloody Mary. I got to get some Bloody Mary mix.
I doctor mine. I just get some tomato juice and figure it out.
Well, yeah, you can do that too.
I do. Works out
Yeah.
well. And you, sir?
Well, I am wearing my, I don't know if you can see it, my Timex World Timer,
Yeah,
because we're gonna discuss Timex in a little bit here. And so my drink is green. Can you see that?
I can see that.
Okay. This is peanut butter whiskey, but for the jelly portion, I squirted in some blueberry juice and it turned it green. So happy
Well,
St. Patrick's Day.
yellow and blue make green.
It will do that.
Mm,
Yeah.
I don't know if I can get behind that, but all right.
I ran out of Chambord, so I gotta
You do
do
you.
what I gotta do.
Well, okay,
Yeah.
you say so.
Well, it's been a couple of episodes since we've really been able to get into some new stuff. And I know you got a couple things. I actually have something as well.
It's true. It's true. It's been a minute. It's been a minute. Like you got back from vacation. We had the new Carabelle C100 different color dials, and then we were in Chicago, and then we had Panda on and all that stuff. And
Yeah.
there was stuff like so. Bring it up, and we'll talk it through.
First, number one is a repeat.
Yeah, that's my 300. That's a newish piece. It works, and I'm happy with it. So, and it's such a weird thing too, because there's like the 300, there's a 600, which is a day date and a gold case. And I think I may have found one of those too. So we'll see.
This is a very dirty patina.
Yeah, it's all around the edges of the dial, and I haven't popped it out to see what I can do about that. I'm willing to
Oh,
bet that maybe a little bit of a
go ahead
maybe a
and
little
say
bit of
it.
a cotton swab
What?
take care of it.
I was going to say maybe a little bit of water got in there.
I don't know that it's water because it's not all the way across the dial, you know? It's just there in the corners. So I
Oh,
don't
it
know.
looks moldy.
It could be. It could be. I haven't pulled the movement out because these
Huh.
ones
So
come out real. They come out in one piece.
You do like these. I like the blue dial better.
I do.
That's
The
just
blue
me.
dial's nice. The blue dial's nice. Like initially, I thought this was a faded blue, but no, it's
Mm.
a legit white.
Is that the same case?
Yeah, same case,
Is it really? Oh,
exact same
okay.
case.
Just huh.
Yeah, they're cool. They're cool.
Okay.
Next,
Next is this is
the
you
Kirkland.
say what it is.
It's
I,
the Bulova Kirkland, Devil Diver Kirkland. It came from Costco.
this is the Costco special. I don't know where
Yes,
he gets the Kirkland from,
because Kirkland is the store brand for Costco.
but it's not a Kirkland. Does it say Kirkland anywhere on the watch?
No, it doesn't. It doesn't say Devil Diver anywhere on the watch either.
No, it's an Oceanographer G.
It's not an
Why don't you
Oceanographer G.
ask my
Because
Bulova, see what they say.
well, they don't do anything that's modern. So yeah, it's a I like it. I know that they're I don't think there's actually controversy about it, but I'm happy with this one.
Well, there's no controversy. I don't know that many people know that this even exists. This
That's
quietly
kind of the
came
thing.
out through Costco
Yeah.
right around the 4th of July time. So it was kind of their red, white,
Little
and blue release.
it was like late June that I started seeing images of it. And it was available through the 4th. I think you can still find them now online if you're interested. And it's not it's I think it's a little bit of a lower retail price than you would find for Devil Divers on the Bulova website.
Mm,
So I mean, it's a good watch, man. It's the 41 millimeter case. It's everything that you know and love with just this red, white, and blue colorway. And
yeah,
like
it's
if you
good.
remember the like, so I have the yellow bezel version, and I think this
Yeah.
blue is a little bit darker. It's a slightly different blue, but not by much. I mean, it's a great color. It's a really great colorway.
You know what this reminds me of?
What's that?
The M
Yes, yes. There's a similarity there without question.
with that blue dial and the red and
Yeah,
blue bezel on it. That looks,
yeah,
yeah, it's very
yeah. I
reminiscent
don't
of that.
disagree. I don't disagree with you at all. Except I can get this one wet.
You can.
I can,
I like that
and
they're all
probably
switching
will.
to that. I like they're switching to that 41 millimeter size. I think
It's better.
they should have been that from the get go.
You know, I can understand the argument both ways. I think that the case on the 41s is or the 44s is actually a little bit more refined. It's almost a straight 1-to-1 of the vintage 39 millimeters. The flanks are just a little bit thinner. And then
Mm.
the the European versions are a little bit different too. But I mean, this is nice. It's a really they wear incredibly well. And it's always, like we talk a little bit about dial size, and everybody's always stuck on dial size, but it comes down to its lug to lug and to how something wears, because the width will depend upon how your wrist sits, but the lug to lug is going to determine how it drapes. And because these ones don't have anything that sticks out over the lugs, and it goes straight down, when you've got that kind of
Well, yeah,
hanging.
no, I get that, but the dial size that can make it appear, or you know, that can make
It's a
it
part.
appear
I think it's a
larger or
part of it.
smaller.
It's a part of it, but in terms of like wearability, it's really lug to lug. So
Yeah.
that's me. I like it. I wear it. You should get one.
Well, I am done buying watches for now.
Well, there you go. All right.
Okay. You want to explain the story behind this one?
So there's a listener that we've got. This is Oceanographer 333. Tim did some renders, and he put up one that was essentially this. It was a black case. It was white loom. He had actually whitened the hands instead of having the black frames on it. But I took a look at
So,
that.
for
What?
those who are just listening, this is a Sea Hunter. This is one of the brand new Sea Hunters
Yes,
that we're looking at.
Calypso handset. But I've redone the dial with a white loom rather than the Fotina, and I have not DLC'd. I have Cerakoted the case into a matte black and thrown it onto a nylon Velcro strap. And
A What would you call that? An olive drab
yeah, OD green.
military style strap.
Yeah. We're calling this one the Jolly Roger.
Jolly Roger. Okay. So I knew you were doing this.
Uh-huh. It's been in
I had
process for
my
a little while.
I had my reservations about it.
And
I think it's actually pretty badass.
it's pretty badass. It's really, really good. It's
I,
really
I I could the loom is here nor there for me. I don't mind the original loom on it, and I think that probably would have looked just as good on this as well. But this in black,
yeah.
I mean, Caravel, take note. Like this could be a possible next option.
Yeah.
This
Doing
in
some
black looks fantastic.
doing some case treatments, or even with I think with that case size, they could use the snorkel case. They could do the snorkel case, that bioceramic in black as well, because they've been really leaning into the white cases recently. I think
Yeah,
that could be really, really cool.
I can't see them doing a ceramics Sea Hunter though.
I can't either, but I could see them doing a black on black snorkel.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
what call it, the anglerfish, and just let that
What
go.
wasn't the Chicago edition a black case? That was a black case, right?
It was either black or it was a dark gray.
Close enough. It's
Yeah, it would work either
whatever.
way. Either
Yeah.
way, I think that's definitely an option. Oh, and I got one more thing.
What else do you got?
Got this bulb
Oh,
design.
your sign that doesn't light up.
It's not, yeah, I bought it working, and they shipped it without doing anything to the bulb inside, and so the
Uh-huh.
bulb is broken, and I have to try to get that repaired. And the bulb is hardwired in, like, twisting loose wires together. So I'm not sure what I'm doing with that. I got to find somebody that could be willing to get into the repair side of it. But it does glow, and it's got a beautiful light to it. So
So
we'll see.
can you just replace the bulb with the LED strip light?
Yeah, I could, but then I've got to wire it into the existing electrical sparks and all the rest of it. There's a transformer that's in there, but it's a vintage one. It's
You don't have to wire it into that. Just run the LED light and then plug it into a USB.
I want the switch to work.
Okay. You know the strip lights come with a switch.
I do, but this has a switch, and it's a solid back, so I don't want to have to make a hole in anything. So it's gonna trying to get the lights to work. You've got to be able to rewire, and it's going to take a minute, and
Okay.
that's not something that I'm willing to get into. So I'm going to find somebody to do it.
So you're dumping more money into this light up display
Yeah,
sign.
but it's pretty fucking cool.
Would you like to tell the ladies and gentlemen how much that cost to have it shipped from one end of the country to the other end?
Oh, it was like $100. $100 to have
Oh,
it.
it was more than that.
Yeah, 100. Oh, well, no, it was like 120, 127.
It's $129
Yeah, and broken.
on top of the purchase price. And now, so whatever happened? Did you work something out with the seller?
Where I still have to get the I'm looking to get it repaired. So we'll talk about what the repair price is, and then we'll see what happens with the seller.
Interesting.
You saw the size of the box.
He's talking
Less
to
than
his
that.
wife.
Yeah, I know.
What is
enough? Enough
was
less.
that it cost how much? Is that one of those conversations?
No, it was you paid how much for shipping? She's over there going,
I know. I agree with her.
it was a lot for shipping. It was a lot for shipping. It was a really big box. Well, the problem too is, like, I don't mind paying that much for shipping if it came in and worked,
Well,
but it doesn't work. So
yeah.
the seller and I will be having conversations once I get a repair price. So what do you got?
Well, I do have something new, and this stems from Windup. I'll throw it on screen here.
Back from Chicago.
Back from Chicago. I have a new railroad. New to me, Accutron Railroad. Funny story about this one. When we were at Windup, we were getting ready the morning of that we were going to be doing the eBay Live thing. And one of the watches that was supposed to get auctioned off was a military watch. And we were looking at it the day before and said, this isn't right. And then we showed it to Richard.
Completely wrong.
Showed it to Richard, and he's like, yeah, that's not right. And they didn't want to sell it representing the watch is not being correct and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
So they still needed to fill that slot with something, and they wanted to sell an Accutron, and they didn't have an Accutron to sell. But you know who had a box full of Accutrons? We did.
Maybe yes.
So out of the box of our personal collection watches, the only one I don't think that either one of us really had an attachment to was my Accutron Railroad. I bought it to have it because I wanted one. It was cool. It was nice. I said, well, if you guys want to use this one, you can use this one. Long story short, they took it. It got auctioned off, and I got a new one in its place. Now, if we're talking about things that come and don't work after being shipped, this one this one also does not work. It ran the listing photos. You could tell that it was running. The hands are in different positions. The seconds hand, was moved around the dial. But when it got delivered, it does hum, but the side of the tuning fork that controls the jewels and the index wheel is stiff. It won't move. It won't vibrate. So only half the fork is vibrating.
That's interesting.
So
That's interesting.
something had to come loose. A screw had to come loose out of there and just got lodged underneath there somewhere. But it's probably a super easy fix. The problem is you got to pull that train bridge off, and I don't want to mess with that.
So
this will go to Zacutron.
there we go.
I've spoken with him. He said not a problem. Sounds like an easy fix. He's in the process of moving, and once he gets into his new place and settled in, I'll send this off to him, and he'll get it going. I have no doubt, and maybe he'll blow it out and put a little spit in the jewels, and we'll be good to go.
I know that came directly from the manual too.
Yes.
Spit on
Page 7B.
Yeah.
Figure 2A. Big old loogie. Exactly.
All right.
Well,
what the hell are we talking about?
Okay. So I'm not calling anybody out. I'm not naming any names. If you've seen the video, if you read the conversation in the comments, you know what I'm talking about. There is somebody on Instagram that made a video, and in a nutshell, this person was saying brands use history and heritage as a marketing ploy. And it doesn't really mean anything because it's non-tangible, and they use it in a way that belittles microbrands. That's quote unquote weaponized against microbrands. It's used as a negative way of degrading the microbrands to get you to want to buy from the big brands. And I had issue with that. If you're a company that's been around for 75, 100, 150, 100, and 200 years, however long it's been, and you're still operating and you're still manufacturing and you have that history and that following and that heritage, you've absolutely earned the right to use that as a way to get people passionate about your product. And if you want to use it in marketing and advertising, you've absolutely used the right to do that too. This has nothing to do with microbrands. Microbrands are generally upstart companies. And if you just don't have what it takes to make it in the marketplace, then you just don't have what it takes. It doesn't fall on the big brands to not use their heritage and history just so you feel better about yourself as a microbrand, feeling that the playing field has been leveled and everybody can make a choice based on the facts. The facts are history and heritage has a lot to do with choice of a watch, of a brand.
Are you done?
I don't know. Stop me before I keep going.
Let's let's discuss, shall we? Because you're talking all about this heritage stuff. And I amazingly have an opposite take on that.
Oh, I was hoping you did.
I do. I do. Like, I don't disagree that if you've got a heritage brand, that you get the chance to lean into that. But let's talk about some of that. And I take exception with some of the brands that are using heritage as an excuse for bad design, because you end up with AP comes to mind. AP is a very, very storied brand. They have a great long history. It's one of the holy trinities, and they have done things that are just phenomenal. But what they are doing now seems to be relying a lot more on that to try to get them through. So if we take, for example, like the 1159, which came out years ago to much, much critical, not acclaim, it's starting to garner a little bit better of a design sense, and people are starting to come around to it, but it's taken a while. It wasn't like it was immediate, and they've been doing some subtle tweaks to the watch in order to make it something, try to get a different sort of mass post than, say, the Royal Oak. So, if we deal with that, there's really not much else that AP is currently doing, which is unfortunate for a brand with the history and the heritage that they've got. You would think, like, okay, great, how many other things could they be making? And granted, they're not churning out the same number of watches that, say, a Rolex is or a Casio are, but they could do more and are not. So, okay, is this manufacturer scarcity? Perhaps. Is it the use of artisans and hand finishing? Well, they're Swiss, so there is a little level of getting lost in the sauce when it comes to Swiss made. If we want to talk about Rolex, the 1908 is not the Cellini line, and it was set up as a replacement for, but it doesn't reach the same level of elegance. I think, like, they haven't done anything remotely close to a King Midas or some of the complications that they were doing within the Cellini line, and that's disappointing based upon the heritage that they've got. If we want to get into JLC, it's like, cool. Other than the Reverso, and recognizing that JLC was the watchmaker's watchmaker, because they were the ones that were making movements and complications for everybody, and now they're not. So, you've got some brands that are leaning heavy on heritage, but they're using some of that as an excuse for sloppy design or lack of design.
Well, and that may be. However, whether you want to agree with it or not, they have earned the right to lay into that heritage if that's how they want to market whatever decision it is that they've made.
Okay. Well, then let's go into that. Let's go into that specifically, because if we want to be using that as heritage, let's talk about Periscope, who does research, and he got into a heritage research bent about a year ago and did a deep dive into a couple of different brands. He's already been going through Panerai, right? Because Panerai as a brand was a Italian brand that was making divers with Rolex movements for the Italian Navy during World War II. And then things happened. And then somebody bought the name and started relaunching Panerai as a brand. And they were leaning heavily into that part of the heritage, and things got a little sideways pretty quick. He also did the same sort of deep dive into Blancpain, who were saying first dive watch, and not exactly, and oldest Swiss company, but also not exactly, and the pictures don't line up, and the Canton doesn't have the records, and what?
Good question.
In
your opinion, who made the first dive watch?
I don't know. Are we talking waterproof watch, or talking some of this specific for diving?
The traditional dive watch as we know it. And it really comes down to two. Do you believe it was Blancpain, or do you believe it was Rolex? Because those are the two that fight for the title.
You know what? If we're talking the traditional dive watch, I'm not sure. The first watch specifically for divers, though, I believe was Omega. with that 2-part case jobby that they had. You know what I'm talking about? It was a little small square watch, and the watch itself was sort of like a pocket watch, and you would wind it, and then it went inside a separate case that was sealed. Anyway,
Anyways,
and so it's like, okay, yeah, great. Maybe they did, maybe they didn't. I'm not saying one way or another, but when you start leaning into that part of your heritage and recognizing that, okay, that doesn't quite hold up to scrutiny, then you run into a little bit of a problem, at least in my mind.
but okay, I think you're looking a little too far into it. If
Oh,
Blancpain, if Blancpain wants to use their heritage of the 50 fathoms as an iconic dive watch, you cannot deny that.
I'm not. I'm not
In
saying it isn't.
in many of the various forms that they came in, if they want to create a new 50 fathoms or are pushing a redesign or a reissue of one, they are absolutely allowed to lean into the heritage of that watch to push it to the public.
Sure, but if you're going to lean into the heritage of the watch, you also have to you got to come correct. So, you know, the issue I have with some of the brands that are leaning deep into their heritage is like, okay, you're creating a story, you're creating a narrative that isn't exactly true, and you can make all sorts of arguments about that. I mean, a great example of that would be Universal Geneve. Universal Geneve is not the same UG from the
Well,
1800s.
not today.
Right, exactly, not today, because the name was purchased,
Hmm.
and now it's with Breitling, and they are cannibalizing the designs of the watch, but not holding on to the heritage necessarily of the brand and what the brand stood for and what the brand did. So, you know, you have that. You've also got, and we could potentially make an argument about Accutron over the same things, that okay, Accutron is now a new line, and it's owned by a Japanese company, and you know they were leaning into this idea of Swiss made, except it was an American company, but now it's owned by, right? You know, where does Accutron fit in all of that? So accuracy through electronics, yeah, okay, and you can lean into what the name of the brand is, but who knows that other than the
Yeah, but
deep
they're
dive
back
geeks like us?
into the accuracy through electronics now. They have no more
They are,
mechanical.
they are, and you can say, okay, this is what we did as a brand, but it's not exactly the same brand. So I mean, you can make a bit of that argument as well. Same thing you could say for anybody who goes and buys up a name of a brand, Excelsior Park. There's a ton. There's just a bunch that the mark has fallen, and it's available as an IP. So great, you pick up the IP, and now you're going to recreate the watch. And so I'm going to lean into the heritage of Excelsior Park and the complications that they did. It's like, yeah, but it's not the same company. You've got nobody involved that was from the beginnings of the origins of the brand.
There, okay. From that perspective, yes, there is a very large gray area. Sheffield is another one. You know,
Yeah.
they had a great skin diver past.
Yes.
They are now back, but they are not the same. It's not the same company. This is,
No,
you
not
know,
at all.
the name, the IP was purchased. They are making modern day reminiscent versions of
Right.
what they once
Right.
did.
I think
And
the
you can
only
say, you know, the Sheffield name and the Diver 1A and things like that, those have their own heritage, but it's not the same brand. I will
the
give you that.
the only one that I can lean into, and I'm going to get it wrong. I don't remember. I think it's Vertex, that the name would fallen off, but it was a grandson that bought it. It's like, okay, I can take a little bit of that because we're staying within the same family, but still not by much. It's like, you know, you haven't made watches in 30 years. You've got a gap there. It's a fairly significant gap to say, okay, it's the same heritage. Not exactly. Not exactly. And so the idea of heritage and the idea of history is definitely one that you can lean into, and you can do almost whatever you want with it, as long as it's yours. Otherwise you're kind of manufacturing this story, and the story has to hold through. And I don't know that a lot of them do.
Okay, here was part two of this conversation. It was a completely different topic. The same person, different topic. And it was uh, underrated watches. What was it? The most underrated watch, the favorite watch, and something else of any given brand of brand X. And he happened to pick Bulova. He said the most it was an overrated watch, underrated watch, and a favorite. That's what it was. The most overrated watch was the Bulova Lunar Pilot. It says, they've had so many variations and this and that, and the sizes were too big, and now they're down to a 41 millimeter, a better, more wearable size, and I want to see more come from that. But the problem is that they were way too expensive for what they were because of the heritage tax. And then he went on to saying his favorite watch was the Devil Diver, much like what you're wearing now. The problem that I had with that was you don't get it both ways. You can't say that big brands use heritage and charge you a quote unquote heritage tax if you're going to say that your favorite watch from that brand is also a vintage throwback with the same amount of heritage and history as what the Lunar Pilot's got. The Devil Diver, the Oceanographer, is an iconic, probably the most well known dive watch to come out of Bulova. And
Sure.
it's got the same history and heritage as what a Lunar Pilot does. Different stories.
You could probably argue more because that was a line. It was built as a line. There were different iterations of it
Mhm.
versus the Lunar Pilot, which is a one-off.
And now the argument that was made was, well, I was comparing the value for what I purchased the watch for, which was less than what retail was, but he's comparing a discounted price to a MSRP Lunar Pilot. So if you compare retail price for retail price, the Devil Divers were selling for $795. The Lunar Pilots were selling for $895. So heritage is okay at a certain price point. Is that what you're saying? Like it's not okay as a heritage tax above
Well,
a certain amount?
okay, then it's gonna be a question about what you consider as the heritage tax. All right, and this is a great example of that because like cool, Speedmaster. Speedmaster is built entirely upon heritage. Is it the best chronograph? No. It's a good one. Is it too large? Maybe. Does it wear well? Depends. How many of them are there? Good God. You know? And in terms of somebody leaning deep into heritage of a watch, and you want to talk about heritage checks, cool. How many limited editions of that watch are there? Like, my God, man. And there's a premium price that goes with it. Sedna Gold? Come on. And I think that it's a decent argument to be had because if we get down to what the Lunar Pilot actually is, it is a not even a high accuracy quartz, high precision quartz, but still quartz. Is that worth a premium? Maybe, maybe not. Is it a good watch? Yeah. Is it a better watch at that retail price point? Maybe, maybe not. They wear well, they look good, they function great. It's a good watch, don't get me wrong. I think that where you currently find them and as a price point is probably more close to what it should be. And so I don't know if you're necessarily paying a heritage tax or you're paying the early adopter tax for some of
Well,
that.
and it's not even early adopter tax. I mean, if you come out with a new watch, X, Y, or Z, whatever it may be, and that watch is from a brand that has a long history and has a storied past and has ties into pop culture or whatever their
Right.
ties may be, and you charge X amount of dollars for that watch, why do you have to justify to anybody what that price point is? Why all of a sudden is it called a heritage tax? Just because you, the consumer, feel like that it's out of your price point? That's a very unfair statement to make.
I don't think it's an unfair statement to make. I think that you're looking at what is the perceived value. And if the perceived
Yeah,
value,
but that's
but
an
if the perceived,
extremely relative argument to make, though,
it is
because
an
what a
extremely, yeah,
perceived
but if it's coming in, if they're factoring that into MSRP, then yeah, it plays a role. Can you market it in a different way? Maybe. Is it worth more because of it? I don't know. And you see this coming across a variety of different brands. The resurgence in field watches from heritage brands who are going out of their way to try to capitalize on the watch that won the war and the World War II ties. So the Dirty Dozen reissues and the A11s, A17s. So there's the Binnerus reissues, and because that's a brand that's come back. Hamilton's doing the same thing, and it's like, okay, cool, it's a field watch. It's a field watch, but we're leaning hard into Longines has done it as well. You've got all of these brands that are kind of doing the same sort of things. Like, okay, we're going into our heritage design, but we're going to modernize it, and we're going to increase the case size, and we're going to increase the thickness because we're using an automatic movement, because we're going to all that malarkey that goes
yeah,
with.
but let's stick with the moon watch analogy. You have a speedmaster, you have a lunar pilot. Are you going to tell me that an $895 lunar pilot is too expensive because it has the heritage tax, but it's okay to buy an $8,000 speedmaster? Because the price
It, what
points are relative. Like what
it's the
what
same. It's the same argument. Yeah, it's the same argument. And if you're going to say it for one, you're going to say it for the other. Sure, I get that. You got to. You got to.
But my point is my biggest problem with what this particular person was saying was that, well, I have a problem with the lunar pilot because it's $895, but I'm okay with the $795 oceanographer.
Amazing that somebody on the internet wasn't internally consistent on a post that they made.
And you know what? This is not the first time that this discussion has come up in various forms. The problem comes from the participation trophy generation.
All
Everybody
right.
wants
We
everything to
will
be
have
fair.
we no, I'm gonna pick a bone. I'm gonna pick a bone with that.
Ouch.
Yep.
Pick a
I'm
bone.
picking a bone with that. And my bone to pick is I have been teaching high school for 30 years. So I went through and taught that group. And the participation trophy generation, quote unquote, is not of their own doing, because they did not buy their own trophies and they were not given their own trophies by themselves. They didn't go out and go to the stores and go, everybody gets a trophy. That was done to them by their parents.
Well,
So
it doesn't matter.
let us squarely place that responsibility upon where it comes from, which is not that generation. It is the older generation that decided to do that to them.
But that's fine, and you can pick that bone, and I'll let you have that bone. But the problem is one way or the other, that is what they were taught, and that is what they take with them now, and everything has to be fair. But no, not everything does have to be fair. Nothing is fair in business, in marketing, in retail. It's not a level playing field, and it shouldn't be a level playing field. And if you are a brand that has a storied past, you are 100% allowed to play into that. And you can use that however you want to use that to bring in new customers, to play on the heartstrings of somebody, to make them fall passionately in love with what it is that you're selling so you can make your sales. If you're a micro brand and you just don't have the ability to do that, come up with a better product.
Well, okay, let's have a quick conversation, because there's a little bit of a quibble, and it happens within the space. Like, I went to a watch show last weekend, and it was microbrands, and there were some larger brands. Doxa was at one of them, but for the most part, it was smaller brands. And the question is the Kickstarter model versus the micro brand model, and let's talk about that.
Okay.
And the thing that really seems to come down to is, like, so the Kickstarter version is basically you in your garage, and
Mm-hmm.
you don't necessarily have a storefront, you don't necessarily have stock, you don't have watches on hand. It is direct to consumer model. And the infrastructure is not exactly all vaporware, but it's real close. You may not even been doing the assembly, and you may not actually physically handle the watches. Somebody else does you play a part in the design, but somebody else does the assembly, somebody else does the manufacturing, somebody else does the logistics. And you are just managing all of that through third-party companies. Versus what I would consider an actual micro brand, where I'm going to talk to you. You have your watch in hand that you helped assemble. You've got stock. You've got watches that you can show. You have a place that I can go for discussion and for service. And the idea of a micro brand being an actual brand, it's an actual company. There is a physical presence versus the Kickstarter model, which does not seem to have any of that direct to consumer route. And I think that's another part of where part of the discussion comes in. It's like, okay, cool. How do I build a better watch? Well, you're going to have to actually put some effort in. You're going to have to fail a lot in order to make this thing work.
That's the thing. And I think that's where some of this, everybody has to win mentality comes from, because it is possible to go from a Kickstarter model into a micro brand. And I don't know exactly who has started that way and kind of crossed the threshold into micro brand. I could try and guess. I'd probably be wrong, but I know it has happened. And if you have it comes down to product line and marketing. If you can be a good storyteller and you have a good product to tell that story about, you can do very well in that, and you can turn into a viable company, and you can be that micro brand. But why should a brand with heritage not be allowed to be able to lean into that?
Okay,
because somebody thinks that it's hurting the micro brand or the Kickstarter brand.
I got an example. Let's talk about Tornik Rayville.
Okay.
Tornik Rayville is a brand. They made a reproduction of the Blancpain 50 Fathoms, which was labeled as a Tornik Rayville for the U.S. military. It was a Blancpain that had been imported and had a different name slapped on it in order to manage the Buy American label that was going on. There were only about 1,000 pieces. It was a very, very small thing. The company got restarted under that name because it was just an importer. It wasn't even a company. It wasn't even really a brand. They didn't make anything else. So this company has now restarted, and they are making a 50 Fathoms homage called the Tornik Rayville. They've got a couple different iterations of it. They also have a Binarus, Type 2, that sort of asymmetric case with a couple different dials on it. And there's a like a Mark 1 dial and a Mark 2 dial. So this is a company that has now co-opted a completely different design from a completely different company and slapped their name on it. Discuss. You got your Kickstarter marketing, you've got your micro brand mentality, you've got stolen heritage, for lack of a better term. Definitely stolen valor.
How are they a Kickstarter? They're not a Kickstarter.
That's where they started from. It began there, and then it has moved into different product lines.
The modern day?
Yeah, the modern day.
Are you sure?
No.
I don't think they were ever a Kickstarter brand.
May not have been. They definitely started incredibly small with a mail order of one watch. And they've grown from it. But
you want to talk about a brand that has stolen design? I mean, look at any brand. Bulova did it, for crying out loud, in the 80s and 90s. That's nothing new.
Right. But they're also, you look at, and there's another interesting question. Because, okay, cool, heritage. And if we talk about the Super Seville.
So I was thinking about this one.
Okay.
Because Bulova they've ripped off the Submariner. They've done the GMTs. They did the Royal Oak, for crying out loud.
Right.
But the Super Seville, I mean, and really all of the ones that they've done, the people go crazy for them, especially in the Italian market. They love that kind of stuff. The Royal Oak, look at how popular that watch has got. Look at the prices of what those things used to be. The Super Seville is one of Bulova's most iconic watches. People know and love the Super Seville to no end, but it's for being honest, a blatant ripoff of a Rolex Day Date.
Right. So the question is, do they
Uh,
love
I'd call it
the Super Seville, or do they love the Rolex Day Date at a Super Seville price?
I'd call it an anomaly. I don't know, but okay. So they like the Day Date at a Super Seville price. That is my point exactly.
Okay.
So an $895 moon watch versus an $8,000 moon watch. Why is one that's 10% of a Speedmaster? Why does that get labeled with heritage tax? I don't get it. It makes zero sense to me. You don't get to call one a bad apple and the other one you get to praise it in the same breath. It makes zero sense. So,
Okay, Mike.
watch brands and heritage. Now, if we want to talk a brand like Timex, who again is a brand with a long storied past. I don't even know how long Timex has been around since.
Been a
Didn't they
minute.
just celebrate an anniversary too, not that long ago? They've been around for a while. I'm gonna throw it up on screen here. Where's it at? Where am I at here? They just came out with a new Q Timex called the Timex Marbella. This, if you look at this watch, has some Alpine Eagle in it. It has some Royal Oak in it. It has a whole lot of 5711 in it by way of dial and handset, and even down to the bracelet. It, some IWC in it. Like they took a page out of all these brands' design book and created this, and they even put on the dial since 1972. Like, this is a brand with a rich history, just pissing that history away and coming out with something like this.
Company was founded in 1854.
1854. So they've been around for a long time.
Been a minute.
Like, I don't understand why they would do something like this. This makes zero sense to me for Timex.
Sell watches.
When,
What's the measurement of that? Is it a 38?
I don't know. It maybe if it's based on the what the old Timex. Well, I say old, but they came out in 2019 as a reissue. It's probably right around there somewhere.
Let's see. Built with bold detail.
Oh yeah,
$219. You can buy it with Klarna.
You can finance your Timex.
You can finance your Timex. Specifications. Diameter 40 mil. Lug to lug 50. Case height 9.5. Case materials stainless steel, silver tone, brushed and polished.
How do you feel, not necessarily about Timex and this particular watch, but a brand like Timex that has an awesome back catalog? I mean, this came out of their, what is this, a 1972 edition reissues that they did a couple years ago, this World Timer that I've got on, and not using any of their original design to create this watch and call it a Q Timex.
So what? It's something new. They have taken a variety of design cues from a bunch of other watches that are very well recognizable, and they've jammed them all into one, and it kind of works.
But that's nothing new.
No, I'm not saying it's anything new, but I think that there's another bit of a misnomer that goes on. It's like, okay, great. If I am a heritage brand, then am I just reheating old watches with modern materials, or do I get to innovate? And that's part of the same argument that goes against the 1159. So okay, I'm leaning into my heritage as a designer. I'm leaning into the great watches that we have created, and I made something that isn't so great. Does that fall into this category, that you think this isn't that great? Do you think it's too derivative? You think it's too what?
Oh, it's far too derivative. But the problem is A, they have an awesome back catalog. B, they started to do some really cool things with the Atelier line. So they went
and
the
there's new
Atelier
stuff that's
route.
going on with that.
And then all of a sudden they took 5 steps backwards and came out with this
Well, okay, but
derivative
maybe
design.
maybe they did, because if you look at the Atelier line, though, we're talking Swiss movements and what, $1,000 price points for a Timex. That's a harder sell. So perhaps they came out with this thinking we're going to move a bunch of units, and that way we can keep making these Atelier designs rather than that
I
could
don't.
be a part of it. That's
I
certainly.
just think. I think this was a left turn in the wrong direction for them. I'm.
I am willing to bet you this watch sells well.
I would.
I bet you're going to see other dial iterations in different colors coming soon.
I will agree with you. Absolutely. This A will sell well. It's a great looking sports watch. If you took Timex off the dial,
Yeah.
it looks cool. It's the best of watch.
Now I think that there's another little bit of an argument that you can make right with that statement, which is if you took Timex off of the dial of that watch, that could be just about any other Kickstarter watch that you care to look at, because it looks like it's AI derived.
If we're being honest, if you took Timex off the dial, that would be a Pagani design.
There. Yeah. That's part of that. Should be another part of the discussion, because like it's something that came up a little bit when we were at Wind Up. And there was one of the guys at one of the Bull booths was saying like, hey, I was using AI to design some watches, and some of the designs were pretty good. And he took a look and he brought up the designs, and I was looking at them like, yeah, they're not bad. If we're gonna be honest, they're not bad designs. However, if you walk around this room right now, you will see variations of that watch. This AI design that you just brought up, and it is because of the way that AI does stuff. AI is scraping the internet, it is scraping examples, and it is synthesizing something from what is already existing. So it's not innovating, it's not coming up with anything new. And I think that that's part of the thing with that Timex watch. It is not innovative. It is not fantastically great in terms of design. But then the other side of that is, okay, why do you lean so hard into heritage and then you don't innovate in the slightest? And I think that watch brands certainly should be looking towards that, to be able to say, here's something new and different. Here's what we're going to be doing. This is what speaks to people now. And let's get out of our heritage just a little bit, and let's come up with some really competent designs.
And you can say that Timex has done that. They've come out of the heritage. They've come out with some innovative new designs in the Atelier line. Bulova does that. They do their reissues, but they come up with original design watches that do really well. Who else in the affordable marketplace does that?
I mean, we can talk about
pull from their heritage, but does innovative stuff.
We can talk about Casio. We definitely talk about the G-Shocks and what they do there. That they've got a little bit of a design language that they stick to, but the G-Shock stuff, there's some really, really cool pieces that come out of that line on a regular.
Yeah, but is anything innovative? It's a lot of the same stuff in a different colorway.
Yeah, it's a different colorway, or they're putting things in a slightly different spot. We could maybe talk about the edifice and the mechanical movement and what Casio has done there. We could talk a little bit about Seiko, but Seiko leaned real heavy into the King Seiko reissues. But they're still coming out with some interesting things, some new things. I think Citizen has some interesting designs. I'm leaning into like the Citizen watches or the Marine Masters, the Pro Masters.
It's funny thing about Citizen is they don't lean into their past all that often.
Hardly.
Yeah.
Hardly. Yeah. Because they embraced EcoDrive, and EcoDrive is almost 50 years old in terms of technology. Yeah. But the watch design has changed through all of that, even to the point that we're using washi paper, and we've got it's a EcoDrive underneath a paper dial that is translucent enough to. I was like, okay, that's pretty cool.
Oh, it's absolutely cool.
Who else is doing really interesting stuff? you got Resonance, you've got Urk, you've got MB&F, you've got
Yeah, but they're outside of the realm of.
yeah, they are, but I think that Urk in particular, let's change the way that we manage and look at time. Let's change the way that the display works, and that's become part of their design language specifically. That's an innovative space. It's an innovative watch. It's an innovative design. But you don't see people that are willing to take that kind of chance. And I guess that when you're looking at a marketplace that's as volatile as it is, you go with what you know will sell. What's going to be a safe design? What am I going to be able to move units of? What, and a conservative design, from a lack of a better. And heritage is always that.
If we're going to talk kind of unreachable brands, one of my favorite watch designers that is always innovating is Konstantin Chaikin.
Yeah.
He's always coming out with something different, something new, and it's always really cool.
There's a variety of stuff that he does, but when you get past the Rismon series, because that's essentially it's a similar architecture, and it's a display conceit, for lack of a better term, with the way that we're going to turn it into a face. How many different face iterations can we do? And granted, they're really interesting, and he has innovated when it comes to the movement, but he's still sort of stuck with that.
But he's done things like the Cinema Watch.
Yeah.
What was it? The Mars Watch. Which
yes,
you want to look at a watch where you don't know what time it is? Look at the Mars
Perfect.
Watch. It makes no
great.
sense.
None
but,
at all.
I mean, the innovation behind how he managed to make all of that work, it's mind blowing. He's one of the,
and doing it all within Russia. Let's not diminish the fact that we're looking at a Russian manufacturer.
I love MB&F watches. I love them for the art pieces that they are. But if we're talking true innovation and real mechanical genius, I think Chaikin is leaps and bounds ahead of what MB&F is doing.
I don't disagree with you. And I think that there's an interesting thing to be said, because when you look at the Mad watches that MB&F does, and so we're going to use an off-the-shelf movement. We're going to put some of our design language into that. We're going to change things around. The thing that's really interesting is that, particularly for the Mad 1, right, which is, I believe it's a Seiko movement.
It's Miyota.
Is it Miyota? Okay, Miyota movement. But they're tall. It's a tall movement. I know people that have had those, and they don't anymore. They've gotten rid of them, because it just, as an idea, as a concept, it's fantastic. As an execution, it kind of is lacking. But if we talk about Chaikin and what the Alain Silverstone collab, those are interesting. I don't know that I would ever wear one, but it's an interesting watch.
It's essentially my regulator watch, just in a Wristmon fashion, and I love them. Oh my gosh, I would want to have one so bad. I think they are fantastic. I've had one of the Mad ones on my wrist. I think it's fantastic.
Really? Not like one of the original iterations, the red or the blue.
This was the green one. It was the Lucky Clover edition.
Okay.
And I loved it. I didn't want to take it off.
Really?
Yes.
Everybody, I know like 3 people that have had one, and out of the 3, 2 have gotten rid of it. One of the guys got rid of that, and he got the newer edition of that, as it was with the display
thinner
dial,
one,
the much thinner one, but not the Mad one design. The two subdials on the.
That's what is that? The Mad 2, I think.
Yeah, he got that, and that's a pretty good watch.
I don't like that design.
You don't have to like the design, but I think it wears a hell of a lot better than the Mad 1 does. So your mileage may vary.
Usually does.
Yes, this is true.
So, well, I mean, what's the takeaway? It all comes down to whatever your
try the watch on
is.
Put the watch on. Decide that.
If you wear the watch and the price makes sense to you, don't argue about it. Just pay the price and enjoy the watch. That's really what it comes down to. And
Very-
don't tell other people that they're wrong. Because opinions are like assholes. Everybody is one of them.
So does this whole rant count as your last call?
I thought that's what we were doing. No.
I'm
This whole conversation has been one really long outro.
okay. Perfect.
Yeah.
Because I've got nothing. I'm tapped out.
No, you don't have a last call?
I got nothing.
Oh, okay. Well, on that note, Joe.
How do we get in touch, Mike?
Hey, today you and I would make up a Spring Bar podcast. Today, like every other day, as you would point out. You can find us on Instagram at the Spring Bar Podcast. You can email us to springbarpodcast@gmail.com. Better yet, go to tspmerch.shop. Buy some merchandise. Wear it. Put it on your head. Get a sticker.
Do something.
Put it on a street light. Whatever.
You could put it on a flock camera.
You could do that too, I suppose. Yes. On a personal level, I am 120 clicks, all spelled out. One long word, 120 clicks. Joe.
I am Joe 666 feet. All it's Joe with 3 6s and feet.
The only reason why I say all one word is because there is a 120 clicks 120, and I'm not the 120 clicks. So I am 120 clicks, all spelled out, one word. Because technically every Instagram name is one word.
True.
So make sure you're following the right one.
True. The content's a little different.
A little bit, yeah.
So,
Well, Joe, till the next time that somebody on Instagram pisses me off and I have to tell you all about it.
cheers.